Horror writing rules. I've been writing horror probably for more than 20 years. If I haven't been writing it, I've been studying it, and mainly in books, how-to books, how to write this, how to write that. And in a lot of those books, they tell you these are the rules of writing horror. I don't really like that. I remember reading something about have your inciting incident somewhere really close to the beginning of your novel or movie. I think that's okay with movies, but not writing novels. Novels, you've got to show a world that happened before. It's not a rule. It's just what I do. I show the world that the people are in. And I don't go on with it for very long because I want to use some of that stuff later. But, that's one of those unguided rules, I think. Mainly because I like starting with description. I like starting with atmosphere. I like starting with a setting. I want you to know where these people live, where they come from. So, I don't really agree with, okay, we got to have a chase right at the beginning and then we'll discover the later on. I think that works for movies, the TV series, but I don't think it works for books. I like starting with atmosphere, and that's all there is to it. I've really put off trying to teach anything about writing on TikTok or YouTube or IGA. No, not IGA. IG. And I think the reason why is I'm not comfortable telling other people what or how they should write. That's because I didn't like being told how I should write. And lately I've just come out and said, okay, the hell with all this. Yes, I know a lot of rules and I know a lot of the stuff. And from movies and that, 3-part structure, 4-part structure, 5-part structure. But, do I adhere to them? I kind of adhere to 3-part structure, like the movies, right? But I don't think I'm going to write my next book based on some movie or some book, that's already been famous, use it as a guide. As far as what kind of writer I am, I consider myself a pantser. I just write off the top of my head. And my newest book, which I think is going to be called 2137 Stonebridge Acres, is going to be a ghost story. But anyway, that's what I think it's going to be. And so, I don't have it planned out. I have no idea. But I do follow a plan once I get past the introduction of the characters and their atmosphere, their town. Once I know the characters, that's when the story really comes to me. Pretty much by the inciting incident, and they're going through whatever door they're going through, whether it's physical or mental or supernatural. Once they go through that door, that's when my writing will veer off. And I'm really, at that point, making stuff up as I go. Yes, there will be editing. I edit virtually every day. Another one of those rules that I break. I do edit every day. I will edit so much every day because I'm not sure where I'm going. And once I figure out who the main character or main couple of characters are, then that's when I take off and my mind is able to play around in the imagination sandpit. As far as character names, I have no special way of doing it. I come up with a name and they're pretty common. As time goes by, especially in the first act, I may change that name. I will definitely change the name of the book. The book has already gone through 4 different covers that I've made for it. And I've only got the first chapter done. I have the first chapter done 4 times, 4 different ways. So, don't be afraid of changing out the first chapter when you first start writing, because it may just not work. I've come up with different characters. One first chapter is definitely going to be later on in the book, and it's going to be in the first act for sure. It's going to be the main character. I also have another character opening the book, from a narrator's point of view, and the narrator might end up being a best friend or whatever. I don't know. I have nothing planned, as I said. Also, one of the things that I have grown to learn is be yourself. Put yourself in those characters. Absolutely. You are the main guy. You are the main person, main woman, main whatever. You could be a ghost. You could be the monster. Also, don't worry about being a pantser or being a planner or whatever they call it. Be whatever you want to be. Like I said, I write a bunch of things. Rarely do I write anything in the next, second, or third act. I have no idea what the first act is. Once you know the first act, that's where your summary is going to come from. I've read that a long time ago, and I don't know if it's a rule or not, but it makes sense to me. If you know what the first act is, and that's what you read about, just go. See you later.